Welcome, you guys. Welcome to Rise Up After Hours. My name's Danielle, in case we've never met, and I am the director of the Rise Up Rockstars. It is not Monday, it's Tuesday, April 26th, and we're going to get started. Becky and the team lead, love, and inspire. No, just team lead, love, and inspire, right? There's no and, whatever.
Got it.
Whatever. Is here tonight, and we are partnered for here on out, hopefully to benefit everybody from our combined knowledge and expertise. We're going to get into it today with some news, so give me just a second. I know everybody always makes fun of, but let me find and share my screen. You should be able to see my face somewhere, and then also the window for the training we're going to talk about. I like to, in case, just to give you a little background, I like to have a visual just because I know some people are more auditory learners and other people are more visual learners. If you don't have pen and paper, it's always a good idea, but you know, do you. Okay, so we talked about a few good things. We're going to kick it off with some news and reminders. If I can, my computer will catch up. Here we go. Reminders that Saturday is the last day to register for SFR. If you haven't already done so, highly recommend that you do that before Saturday so that you can guarantee you have a spot. I do believe there is a payment plan, so if that's something that is a concern of yours, you can always do that and then make it a little bit more affordable over time. Register in the events tab under whichever event you want to choose. So you can do either virtual or in person. Also, brick by brick incentive, the second part of it is in full swing. We have about 5 weeks, 4.5 weeks-ish left, and there's still lots and lots of time for you to get that done. So if you haven't already made a plan, go for that. Go talk to your sponsor, go talk to your director, us, and we'll help you out. We'll help you get there if that's something you want. I think it's a really cool thing to go for because, one, if you don't get it, you don't get it. But if you do get it, then there's a possibility you can walk away with at the end of the incentive period. Testers for the new fall catalog, catalogs for the new fall catalog. All the things that you normally have to pay out of pocket and you have to budget for in your business, you'll be able to earn that for free with this incentive. So it's like, that's some motivation right there. What else is in it, Becky? I think it's testers, catalogs, all 10 bars, and a booklet or all 10-cent sticker bundle. There we go. I think that's it, right? I don't think I missed anything. It's worth it.
And felt samples, a felt sample pack as well.
Felt sample pack. So that totally makes it worth it. Also, if you haven't, or if you're not aware, our May 1st starts our annual awards season. So annual sales and annual mentor starts May 1st. Decide today, okay, maybe like later today, once you realize what it is, go look it up. Decide that you are going to go for it this year. Even if, again, if you shoot for mediocre, guess what? You might be mediocre or you might fall below that. But if you shoot for the stars and you don't quite make it, guess what? You're still going to land among the stars. It's corny, I know, but it's true. So decide that you're going to go for it and make a plan to start that in May. The news, really quickly, you guys can read all the details about this in the news articles posted on the workstation, but new buddies have been teased for hopefully this Thursday. We don't have details quite yet, but pay attention to that news tab. Shining Star nominations are due by April 30th. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. International Pay It Forward Day is also on Thursday, April 28th, which is this week. Go read about that. There is, if you do something that is for that day, International Pay It Forward Day, use the hashtag Scentsy PIF, and then you can see all the other wonderful things that are happening that day because of this movement. Slight note on this, May transition is actually midnight, right? Central Standard Time, is that right? Becky? Becky's giving me a yes. So pay attention in the news article if you want to make sure that you have the right information. I'm going to get used to the different time zones eventually. Warmer and Scent of the Month will be released, as well as the summer collection. And then, of course, if you haven't told your customers already, this is something that you can focus on right now because it's going away after Saturday. Harry Potter, including if they had a pre-order. So that means if they had a pre-order and they haven't redeemed it yet, they will lose out on that deposit. Dumbo is going away, Scentsy Fresh collection, and then All Is Well wax collection, which is a really, really great thing to add to your Scentsy club. And it's a great talking point if you have somebody who loves that collection to add it to their club. Enough about that. Let's get into the meat of it. Today we're talking about scheduling good habits and growing your business. All right, I want you guys to write in the comments, and I just saw the chat box there. I don't know that question, Jenny. If you nominate another consultant, maybe Becky knows. If we nominate another consultant for Shining Star, how do we go about getting their consultant ID? I don't think you need it. I think you just put down, or Becky, do you know?
You don't need it because our customers can actually nominate us for this award as well. As much information as you can get, you can provide. Maybe if you know their upline, you can reach out to them to get their consultant ID number, but you don't actually need it. But I would reference in the body of your message that, or in your entry, that you don't know her consultant ID, but she is a consultant based out of such
whatever
and such.
City, state. Country.
As much information as you can give them, but it's not required.
Excellent question. So in the chat below, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much can you relate to some or all of these questions or statements? You want to grow your business, but you're short on time. You really want to make it work. So when you finally do sit down and make time, you're not entirely sure what to do. Maybe you feel lost or overwhelmed a lot of the times, maybe a little of the times. If that is something that you can relate to, guess what? You're not alone. You're not alone. I can almost guarantee Becky and I have felt this way more often than not. What is lacking when you're feeling this way? Something that can help is systems. Something that I teach my team a lot, which is something that I've learned from other consultants, mainly Chloe Cox and all of her trainings on YouTube, is that there are 3 branches to your business: PRV, sponsoring, and coaching. You need systems for all of those things. And if you don't, if you're struggling, you're not knowing what to do, maybe you haven't grown as much in the last 2 months or 6 months or a year even, you need to take a look at your systems. You won't rise to the level of your goals, which is something that I think James Clear says, correct me if I'm wrong, you will fall to the level of your systems. So if your systems are not supporting your goals, you're not going to meet your goals. So systems are what we're going to talk about today. Now, looking at how this person maybe feels that they want to grow, but they're short on time and they don't really know exactly what to do when they finally do get to sit down. What do you think is missing from their business? A system for action, a system to do the work, to make it easy, to eliminate the stress or the friction of getting started on those things. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Get a paper, a pen again if you don't have one already. Whatever app you use to remember things, that's what you're going to want to have in front of you so you can take notes. Here is a really amazing list. It's not all inclusive, like it doesn't, I know I'm missing stuff, but this is all that I can think of different types of systems and combinations of systems in order to support the work that you want to get done. The idea behind the system, the why we use them, is to minimize that effort, again, that we need to get started to get that work done. If the system that we have already has action steps built in, we won't need as much energy to get started. There won't be that friction in the way. So when less energy is needed, when we have a system that kind of already outlines what we need to do, we just need to follow it because it becomes second nature almost, then you're more likely to get started on that work. It's not going to feel so overwhelming. You're not going to feel so lost because you're going to have a direction and a focus. Any questions, feel free to stop me and say, look at the chat, because I tend to ignore that until I need a breath. 10.5. I love it. Okay, yes, we all have these. I mean, there are days we still have these moments, even though we've been doing this for forever. All right, so planners, like physical planners. I used to be a diehard planner girl. I still love writing things down, but I've moved away from them because I don't always have it in front of me. Digital planners, I moved for a while to my iPad, and I had my Apple Pencil. So I still was physically writing things in my planner, but again, I didn't always have it in front of me. And so it was something I had to carry around with me. Binder systems, checklists, AMI. AMI is a system, you guys. It is something that will tell you what to do, when to do it. It's pretty darn amazing. It's a really great stepping stone. Doesn't really work for me and how I want to do things, but it works so well for so many people. So that's something that definitely is an amazing tool. Scalable systems, time blocking, batching, habit trackers, power hour. If you've seen those one sheet daily things of checklists, kind of what to do every day, that's another system that you could use potentially. There's actually, I believe, and I'm almost 100% sure, there is a Scentsy Power Hour PDF on our team, or on our training center on the workstation. So if you're curious about that, go and like search those keywords and you might be able to find that information, that little PDF. Here's a few, like we're going to break down a couple ideas for you. And then once you have these ideas, I'm going to show you the system that I use. And okay, so here we go. Time blocking. Time blocking is where you essentially batch parts of your day into segments. You break it up into chunks. Most chunks of the day are like 2 to 4 hours, but maybe you go to work for 8 hours. So that's a bigger chunk. And you only have a smaller chunk of the day for family and a smaller chunk of the day, even less time for your business. That's okay, but you can time block your days by what you need to get done in that point of the time. So here's an example of like a really rough outline of my time blocking. Breakfast happens in the morning. We do a homeschool, we have snack, and I usually will attempt, I'm human, to start some laundry. By midday, it's lunchtime. We do a little bit more homeschooling, not too much after lunch. And then a kitchen, I usually like tidy up the kitchen, and then I try to fit in some exercise. That's a new habit that I've started, and I'm not so fond of it, but it's happening. Afternoon time, again, snack, because those kids always need to be fed. Then I do my Scentsy work. That's where I'm focusing about 2.5 hours of my day. I am able, and I can guarantee you it's not interrupted. It's always interrupted because my kiddos are home with me all the time, which is fine. But that's usually what I can manage to carve out of my day. It's not perfect, but that's just the way it works for me. And then I put in errands. We go grocery pickup, we run to the post office, things like that. Evening time is dinner, family time, bedtime. Nighttime is me time / Scentsy and watching Netflix sometimes, spouse time and sleep time. So that is a rough idea of what your categories might look like. I like to use the general times of day, like morning, midday, afternoon, that kind of thing. Some people prefer to use chunks of time, like from 8 to 12 or from 12 to 4. It's up to you. But this is one way to kind of organize and see, well, I'm doing a little bit of work, my Scentsy work in the morning, and then I do a little bit in the afternoon. Well, what if, like, is there a way to maybe put it all at once so that you don't have to start and stop again? Like, is that going to be more effective for you and your business? It's up to you to decide, but that's just something to consider. Some people, it does save them time because they don't have to stop and start so often, and they're already focused on this particular section of their day, that they can just get it done, knock it out, and then they can focus on something else. So in other words, you're not worried about Scentsy stuff because you know you have scheduled time later that day. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Now, this is something that's a newer concept to me. It's called the Eisenhower or priority matrix. I haven't practiced this a lot, let's put it that way. I do know about it, but I haven't practiced it as much because I just found out about it. What this does is it creates a box and you have urgent and not urgent on the top, and you have important and not important. So what the idea is that you were to you'd brain dump all your stuff that you have in your brain, like rattling around for your house, for your kids, for your job, for your life, for whatever. And you're going to put them in these categories. Now, considering your Scentsy tasks, where would you think to put responding to a question from a teammate who's been a consultant for over a year? That would be not so urgent, but kind of important because you care about them, you know? Or placing someone's order that's an LTO. Well, that's definitely important and definitely urgent. So that's going to be done right away. Following up with your customers, urgent and important, because that's PRV related. It's going to be the most income producing activity. So the idea is that you would then look through your tasks that you have and organize them, prioritize them in a way that you are focusing your energy in the important things. You're not worried about making fancy, beautiful, although gorgeous, thank you packages for your customers, when if you can get that done in less time and like they're just done not as gorgeous, like, you know, that would save you some time to focus on the things that are more income producing. Does that make sense? So here's some examples. So again, urgent and important is placing orders, following up, booking parties. Those are all really great income producing things. Not urgent, but they are income producing would be relationship building, mailers, social media content and posts, training and skill building. That's attending this meeting right now. Is it important? Absolutely. Is it urgent? No, you could technically be watching the recording, although we appreciate you being here tonight. And then urgent, not that important, meeting other people's expectations. So like that text message for that teammate who probably hasn't searched the workstation right away. That's something that could wait a little bit because it's not that urgent, right? Phone calls. This is like, oh, someone commented on my post that I made and I have to respond to them. Not really. Like you feel like it's urgent because it's someone that you want to reply to, but it's not that important either. Like, does that make sense? So these are things like phone calls, text messages, emails, some social media comments. Again, if it's priority or if it's related to placing the order, that's different. But interruptions, samples, things that you want to eliminate or maybe just do at the very last if you have time for it. Fluff. So fancy or elaborate sample making, thank you mail, social media posts. You know, what done is better than perfect is my favorite thing to say, because I used to be a perfectionist and I still like things the way I like them. But like, for example, this particular training, I didn't have as much time as I would have liked to because I have not yet met my own PRV goal this month. So I give myself a certain amount of time to get it done. And is it perfect? It could be better, but it's done, and done is better than perfect. And that's okay. We're human. No one's going to judge me or you. And if you do judge me, well, you're not paying my bills. So. And then time wasters like scrolling social media and TV and etc. Like, you know, if you've done all the other things, this is totally fine. But again, using this matrix will help you kind of navigate how you prioritize your tasks. Okay. Let's see the next one. This one's, again, my favorite. This is, if you haven't seen this, I'm curious who hasn't seen this. Yes, I'm catching up on comments, sorry. If you don't ignore the reminders, Kara, that's exactly why it didn't work for me, because I had like over 100 and I'm like, I can't, it's too many. I can't, okay. That's exactly why it didn't work. So this is Chloe Cox's 3 legs of success. She's got the stool as like yourself. Like if you are not healthy, if you don't take care of yourself, if you're not feeding your brain, spending time with your family, if you're not balancing your life, like the rest of it's not gonna have any foundation, you know? So that's the first thing. That's the main part of the stool. But the legs are your business. You want to filter your to-do list when you're creating your system for your business of the things that you want to get done. You want to filter it through this mechanism, this stool, if you will. PRV is going to be your first thing. Is your PRV always consistent? And if it's not consistent, that's what you want to focus on for your first system. Sponsoring and then coaching. If once you have a consistent PRV and you're meeting your goals all the time, then you can work on, and I know that's probably not a super popular opinion because people, you're like, oh, PRV, you could be doing your PRV and you could be sponsored at the same time. And yes, people can and do, but if it's too much for you, it's okay to pull back. It's your own business. It's okay to focus on your PRV until you get that solid and until that's something that just happens because you've had this system that's set up and it's just happening all the time because of your system supporting your goal. Then you can move on to growing more and sponsoring and helping others do the same. Okay. Okay. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything in my notes. Without consistent PRV, your business will stall, and that's what a lot of people find out. Oh, good, better, best. So PRV, this is something that's like slight tangent, but I'm going to go for it. So I like to think of goals in good, better, best format. What's a good PRV goal? 500. If you're here because you want to grow your business, you're watching this training, you want more from your business, bare minimum is 500. Because why? Because that's how we get paid our leadership bonuses. Better goal would be 2,000, because hello, 5% more of our PRV, right? That would be a better goal. What would be our stretch goal? Would be our 2,500 PRV. That's annual sales. That is when you are stretching yourself, when you're doing the better and the stretch goals, the 2,000 PRV to 2,500 PRV, you are leading from the front as well. So you want to have a system, a task system that I'm going to, you can pick any one of these systems we're going to show you to help you support that goal, that the 500, 2,000, 2,500 PRV goal. All right, that's enough of that. Any questions so far? Let me know. This is one of the first systems that I used. I didn't know, I did not have a sponsor that was in it to grow a team. She was my friend. We went to high school together. She was our dealer for like 5 years. And then she quit. She was like, oh, I'm going to go back to work. She was a stay-at-home mom. I'm going to go back to work. And I'm not going to do Scentsy anymore. And at that point in time, I had just had my first baby. 6 weeks into being a stay-at-home mom, I was like, I'm a little bored. I need some Target Starbucks money. And so I decided to go for it. And because I didn't have a sponsor, I went to YouTube to learn how to do my business better. It was that Spring Sprint, which is World Tour, it was called Spring Sprint back then, that I learned that Scentsy could be more, and that you don't have, I was like, I don't have to go back to work if I do Scentsy really well. Show me how. And so I went to YouTube, and it took me 18 months after I learned, like, okay, I have to sponsor people. It took me 18 months to get my first teammate. It took me a while, but I had to go and learn it from anybody who was willing to share, who was generously giving me their information. So I found Christina's Steamboat system. How does she do it? Brain dump everything you do for your business all on one paper and categorize it. Pick a theme, customer day, host and recruiting day, errands and business task day, like expense reports and mileage and that kind of stuff. Schedule those accordingly by theme in your week. Like maybe you're always out and about on Mondays and you're never home. So maybe that could be your out and about day, or Monday is your customer day. And I don't know, however you want to do it. I think because we get news articles on Thursdays, Thursday or Friday would be a good customer day. Just me personally, that's my thought, but do what works best for you. Your success does not rely on your upline, by the way. There are many different, like almost all of them, it feels like sometimes, self-made leaders who have been where you are, who know exactly how it feels to be where you are, but they have learned and will generously share their knowledge week after week, month after month, year after year. So absorb the information. If you go to Christina Steamboat and look up scalable systems on YouTube, there is a link to her Google Drive, which has all of these documentations for you to borrow and share and use yourself if you want to check that out, if that works for you. I don't know. To sum up real quick, scalable systems is essentially you're going to be doing the same tasks no matter how big your business gets. It's scalable, in other words. That's the idea behind that. So by having the same tasks on the same days every week, after month, after year, it's easy to continue to grow. All right, that's enough on that. I don't know who made these, so I wish if I did know, like if I figure out who did, I'll give them credit, but this is a checklist system. It's pretty basic, and this is the Google Drive if you want to have these documents, this PDF, and print it at home and then maybe make it your own or just use it as is. but it's essentially a daily to-do list. I think it has a weekly to-do list and a monthly to-do list for all the different parts of your business. And again, you might feel like when you see this list going to Google Drive, and there's the screenshot that, so you can go and type it in later. You might feel overwhelmed because there are things involving like team trainings that you have to plan, and that if that's not your business yet because you haven't mastered your PRV, you haven't gotten a system down for consistent PRV, then don't worry about that. Cross that off your list. Like that shouldn't be something that you're focusing on because your business comes first. PRV consistency is like number one. I've said it a million times. I hope you realize how important it is. Oh, Diana. Kara, I just saw your comment. Christina Stainbrook or Chloe Cox, or what was her name? What was the question? My sponsor?
No, what is it? Christina
Stainbrook.
Steinbrook?
It's right here. It's on the top left.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. She's amazing. She's weird and she accepts her weirdness, and that's why I like her, because she's weird and I'm weird. But yeah,
it sounds familiar, so I may have come across her before.
She's done quite a few trainings. Yeah. Okay, so there's this one. It's like you could literally just print this out, have it on the wall on a clipboard, and like every time you sit down to do your business, that could be the thing you focus on. You know, it's easy for me. It's easy to get distracted by the things that come up suddenly, like someone wanting to place an order. So that system hasn't quite worked for me. I use a version of this. So I'm going to show that to you in a second. Let me make sure. So the idea is, once you have your system for your business, whether again, it's you're focusing mainly on PRV or PRV, sponsoring and coaching, all of it at the same time, wherever you are in your business, the idea is you want to set a time to create and follow through with your system. So what I like to do, this is my Sunday routine. I do it at different times during Sunday because it's just, that's the way life goes. Brain dump everything on a list. I write down events of where I have to be so that I can then schedule what I do in my business. So I schedule like 3 important or urgent things that need to get done that week, that day, or that day for that part of my business. I said that backwards, but you get what I'm trying to say. And then don't feel like, oh, I only have 10 minutes, so I'm not going to do anything. Don't dismiss 10 minutes. 10 minutes can be one really great follow-up with a customer who feels really appreciated because you wanted to check in on them and their new warmer, and if they've set it up and if there's any problems, or how are they loving it? Do they have a new favorite scent? That is amazing if you have 10 minutes. That's more than a lot of people will give. So start small. Small actions repeated consistently over time equal great results. I forget who says that, but it's so true. I think it's what's his name from Taking the Stairs, Rory Vaden. There we go. I think that's who says it. I'm not sure. And then give yourself credit. Now here's where I still struggle with this, is that when I don't get something done or check marked off my list, I'm like, oh man, like that inner dialogue of I'm not good, I suck, I didn't get it done. Like, shh, that's not true. You did something that, again, most people won't even attempt. You said yes to joining Scentsy. First of all, that's amazing. Because again, so many people don't even want to take that first step. Just do whatever you finish in a day, in a week, in a month. That is something that to be proud of. That's my point to number 6 there. Consistency is key. So don't just, it's kind of like when you're on a diet, and I don't like diets. I don't really do diets, but because I worked out earlier and I'm gonna go have ice cream later. So, you know, don't, just because you have like too much of something, one meal, doesn't mean you like go and binge. You know what I'm saying is that you can't throw it all away. You can't just give up if you had one rough day. Am I making sense there? All right, so what questions for you? What will be your routine, your ritual to use your system? Maybe Sunday nights are not a thing for you. Maybe Monday mornings are a thing for you. What will be your starting event? your ritual, if you will. Some people have nighttime rituals to like wash their face, brush their teeth, get into their pajamas. I don't know, meditate maybe. That's not me, but some people do it. What will be your starting event to get your routine set up and then looking at it every week? That's something for you to answer. It's not for you to share with me unless you feel like it, you can, but that's only something that you can decide. Here is a little note. I'm going to read it because it's just so dang good. Atomic Habits, James Clear. This is like a paraphrase from his book. You will waste your time and energy trying to decide when or where to work, which then, that's a typo, postpones, distracts, and creates a barrier for you to actually do the work. It takes time and energy to figure out where are you going to do it, what are you going to do. You got to stop waiting for the motivation, because truth be told, you're never going to always feel like it. Like, you are never going to feel like it to do the work all the time. Like, that's not going to be a thing for you. It is normal, it is natural for you to not feel like doing this work. Even though you're excited about your business, you want to grow, it's normal to not feel like doing it. So you have to schedule your habits, your tasks. This is the difference, James Clear says, between professionals and amateurs. Professionals set a schedule and stick to it. Amateurs, they wait until they feel inspired and motivated. And we all know what happens when we wait to feel that way. It doesn't always happen. The power of a ritual is that it provides a mindless way for you to initiate your behavior. It's kind of like when you start your coffee in the morning or you have breakfast. There's a routine to that. You don't even think about it because it's just something that happens. Make a ritual to get this work done. Maybe, I don't know. For me, my kids, we do finish homeschool. They get to have lunch, I do my exercise, take a shower, and then I come here and they get to go watch TV at that point, or they play outside. Like, that's kind of the ritual I've created. It changes, of course. It's not always the same because that's life, but it makes a huge difference when you have that in place. The key to a good ritual is that it removes the need to make a decision of what should I do first, or when should I do this, or how should I do this. Most people never get moving because they can't decide how to get started. You want to start creating a behavior so that it's easy and it's automatic, and you have the strength to finish it when it becomes difficult and challenging. A ritual that starts your system creates consistency, which again is so key. Success is the sum of small actions repeated daily over time. I just said that a minute ago. So true. The best system, I'm gonna tell you a secret, is the one you use. And it's so true. Google Calendar has been my favorite system, and I have tried like 80% of the list I showed you earlier. I have tried them all. So I'm going to show you my system really quickly. Hopefully don't overwhelm you, because it can be a lot if you make it a lot. But this is what inspired one scheduler I use is Google Calendar. Yes, Kara, I just said that. Exactly. So how come you didn't share this earlier? Because I just discovered it like a month and a half ago. That is so funny. Yeah, okay, exactly. Let me pull up my thingamabob and I'll show you what Kara is talking about here and what I've just discovered. And I'm so excited about it because it's been working. It's the system that's been working the best so far.
Because especially for me, I need something in my face in the morning to keep me on track of what I need to do. So I set reminders. I set probably 2 reminders on each thing. So it like goes off. I'm like, okay, I gotta, get breakfast, get dressed, have breakfast and do that. And then like an hour later, I have another reminder. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm still playing on my phone. I should go down and do that.
And see, reminders don't necessarily work for me because I just swoosh them away. Like I'm a snoozer for sure. I will snooze the reminders away, and then I'll show you. So here, what I've done, let me start at the beginning. So what you're looking at right now is Google Calendar. It is a free thing you can use on any web browser. They have apps that you can use, the Google Calendar app. Yeah, I don't know much about Apple's built-in calendar, so I can't speak on that, but there is an option, I think probably, that would work pretty well. Also, if you're already an Apple user, I just like Google because I have Google Drive and it all kind of seamlessly works together. So here I have, first of all, you can change your view. So if you want to see the whole month at a time, you can change it that way. You can also just hit the letter M and it'll change it to month. I have my Google Calendar set up where it starts on Mondays because again, I like to look at my weekend at the end of the week and my Monday starts my week. You can change it on Google Calendar in the settings. Settings would be this little gear up here. Go and YouTube more about Google Calendar if this is something that you think you might want to use for yourself. Here I have different calendars that I have set it up, and I only put numbers here because that's the order in which I wanted to see it in this list. You don't need the numbers, just so you know. And emojis are fun. I was saying earlier, Allison Dulkey, when I read Kara's comment, I got distracted. Allison Dulkey just did a training about a month and a half ago where she showed her Google Calendar, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try that because I like new systems, and it's been working really, really well. So meals, it's just like, hold on, let me show you. I'm gonna hit X. So I just like to plan my dinners. My husband made BLTs earlier. I'm gonna go eat that when we're done here. And what's really cool, let's say we don't have BLTs for dinner tonight and then we have it tomorrow night. I can easily just swoosh it over to the next one. Actually, it's an event already passed, so I can't do it that. But here we go. There we go. See? I could swish. So it's very flexible in, so let's say I went to go and follow up with a host and I didn't get to it that day because life happened. I can swoosh it over and it's going to show up on my to-do list the next day. Okay, the thing you really care about is my time blocks. So here are how I have my time set up. And it's supposed to be, there we go, color coded. So this is a rough outline. It's not perfect all the time. I don't have a family and friends block on Tuesdays because that's where I have trainings with you guys. So on second and fourth Tuesday of the month, I have this to focus on instead, in case you're wondering why it's not here. I also have my Scentsy calendar there. So these are all things that I've put in myself, like I've got coaching calls, there's Rise Up After Hours Zoom. But if I don't want to see it, like if I don't need to see that information, I like having it on its own calendar because then I can take it away. Does that make sense? My out and about. So here's some, I don't know why it keeps changing colors, but there you go. So here I've got some errands while my kiddo, like here's my homeschooling stuff, a rough outline. So my child has a homeschool pod that she goes to on Thursday. So that's usually when I plan my out and about things that I have to get done. Then what's really cool, if I highlight those things, I've made one for LTO launches. So if we go back, where was our last launch? Now I don't know where it is. We had one on Monday, should be here. No, yeah, no, I don't know where it went. Whoops. My computer's being slow because I have too many things open. Discard, I don't want to save changes. Okay. I have one for team group content. Eventually, I want, the idea behind that is I want to plan what I'm posting on this calendar so that I can check mark it that it's done. It's not something I've utilized yet, but it's an idea. And it's very flexible. Like if I don't want to use something, I can delete it. The really cool thing is here I have other calendars that you can subscribe to. So I went and found a weather calendar to subscribe to. I just Googled weather calendar Google or weather Google Calendar, and I typed in a thing. And then what's nice about that is that they will show me what the weather will be like for that week, which is kind of a fun thing. I don't know. It helps me plan. Like if I'm gonna send, I have a customer who just bought 2 bars for me and I need to mail it to her. So I'm waiting for it to be a little cooler before I go send that in the mail. And yes, I'm sending it with the ice packs, but you know, California, you never know how long it'll sit. Then I also have Scentsy's home office calendar that I've subscribed to. So everything in this bright purple is something that they've put on their calendar, but because I'm subscribed to it, it shows up on mine. So all the all consultant trainings, the business tips on Facebook Live every Tuesday, product training on Facebook Live every Thursday. There's International Pay It Forward Day, and they actually have the LTOs listed too, which they used to not have it updated. So maybe someone talked to them. I wonder if it'll show an LTO for Monday. I was just thinking, well, did they upload it yet? No, they haven't. Okay, then my other favorite part about Google Calendars.
That's a thing though that I've heard. If you watch the Scentsy home office calendar, sometimes you find out about things sooner than anybody else does. It's like it slips into that calendar first.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. That's kind of why I was like, I haven't looked yet. Let me see. Let me take off my time blocks. I don't need that right now. And then we can leave my Scentsy stuff up there. But over here, I've created task lists. So these are all the different parts of my business / life. My homeschool to-do list, my personal tasks, like I have to pay my dentist because I haven't paid my bill yet. Customer follow-up. So anytime, like these are ones I should have done last week and I just haven't had a chance to get to them yet. But I like that they're at the top of my list, right? So I don't have to remember, oh, when was it that I was supposed to talk to someone about something? I can just have it here, and all of my follow-up so far that I've talked to in the last month and a half, I've put them up here because now I can just, it'll show up on my to-do list. Now, when I turn that calendar on over here, you'll be able to be overwhelmed by all my tasks. So tasks, what's the difference between a task and an event is that you can check mark off tasks. Kara's laughing at me. Hold on, what am I missing here? Oh, the emojis on the side. Okay, I'll show you one second.
This is like, I'm an organized freak and I've been like using Android and Google for like 20 years. I had no idea you could go this in depth. I'm just loving this right now. Like, this is like, oh, I'm going to be so busy tomorrow playing with my calendar.
Well, that makes me feel happy because I'm glad it's useful. But yeah, I have a reminder, or I have a task. Here's how I set up a task. I put log, I can edit it if I wanted to. Log daily numbers, sorry, because what you don't measure, what you don't measure, you can't manage. So if I don't know where I'm at with my PRV, I'm not going to be able to hit my goal possibly. The more you know, the better. So here is my Google Calendar, or I'm sorry, my Google link to where the spreadsheet of where I log my numbers. So I have it repeated daily at 8:45 every night. Now, do I do it all the time? No, I'm human, but it's made it so much more consistent because it's right here. And I just go here, I click on that. Come on. And then I click on the link and it'll open it up in a new window and I can log my numbers real fast. And then I can mark as completed. Ta-da! And then it's crossed off. And I feel a little hit of dopamine because I did a little goal. So that is
other things, but I never thought to do it with Scentsy stuff.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So yeah, how do you get those emojis over there?
Emoji. So on my laptop, I don't know if it'll be the same for you, whatever laptop you might have, but I know if I hit Control Command, hold on, let me see. Let's create a new event. Control Command Spacebar, I believe is what it is. Go away. Hold on. There it is. So yeah, Control Command Spacebar, and it pulled it up. And it won't let me do it right now because it's going slow, but you get the idea. All right, so there's my customer follow-up. Then I have also, to wrap it up, because I know we're at the end and it's already been an hour, or about an hour, I have my business tasks. So these are things for my personal business, me booking parties, me following up with customers, me making samples, nothing to do with my team. These are the things I want to prioritize first, because if you don't focus on your own business, it's going to fizzle out while you're focusing on your team. So you have to do your stuff first, which feels really weird but it's so true. And then I have my tasks for my team, which right now apparently is missing some tasks. And then I have random Scentsy to do. Like these are things I eventually want to get to that are not super important and not super urgent. Like I want to create, for an example, I think it'd be really cool once my team grows more often that we have new teammates, that I would think it'd be really cool to have a new teamie Zoom every month. So that's something that I don't want to forget. So it goes on my list. And these are like courses I want to take that I don't want to forget. Oh, I want to take that. This is a host shopping link that I have open, and I want a reminder of when it is at close, when it's her 90th day before her link closes. Then I have my business goals, which is something Allison Dolphy does. And this is just a list of things I want to do every month. So that I have not accomplished these goals, so they have not been check marked off. But it's a work in progress. It follows me. If you look here at this darker gray, it says 12 pending tasks. These are all the tasks that I either have to do today or should have done earlier this month. And so it just kind of follows me every day. If I don't get something marked off, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I don't have to rewrite my list. It just follows me with the next day, which is super flexible, and it feels less overwhelming that I don't have to remember everything because I can just put it in my calendar. And then team page posts. Eventually, I just started this last week. I think it'd be cool to have a reminder of like the tasks of the social media posts that I want to do for our team page every month, like shout outs, goal posts, things like that I always forget to do on a certain day. And having it show up on my to-do list on the end or at the beginning of every day would just make it that much more simple. There are ways that you can change the colors of all of those calendars. What else? I don't know exactly how to teach you how to do that because I just followed a YouTube tutorial, but you could do the same. It will help you. If you don't want to color categorize it, you don't have to. It's just something fun for me. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.